everybody, and welcome to another Star Wars Black Series.net video spotlight. Now, we're not taking a look at a 6-inch figure today. We're going to take a look at something different. Since the Black Series line has started, collectors have kind of been wanting third parties to step up and release things to kind of add to the line and augment it. Mostly what we've seen is like fabric robes. You see a lot of those on eBay where people are making fabric robes to go with the figures. But folks want more. They want things just like maybe the Transformers line gets all this attention from third parties doing like different heads and full figures and things like that. GTP Toys has come up with something really different and very unique to kind of augment the line without stepping on anybody's toes, and that is these space walls, which are segmented diorama pieces that you can put behind your figures when you're displaying them or taking pictures of them and create dioramas with them. They're really, really cool, and they've released this 9-piece starter set to kind of get the line going. And they've sent this one over here for us to review, so big thanks to GTP Toys. It came to us in this brown box, which is really cool. It reminds me very much of like vintage toy boxes, where it's got the black illustrations on a plain brown box. We've got the GTP toy logo, and then we've got these kind of brown slots along the side, and then our drawing of space walls. The sides on these sides are plain except for a UPC symbol. Down below, it's got a GTP Toys logo. The other side actually has the address label because it ships to you in this box. The bottom opens up. It's taped there. It goes like this. So you get the box all opened up. Inside the box, you find a sheet explaining what you're getting. Just kind of push this off to the side just a little bit here. The Wave 1 starter pack includes 2 LED panels, 3 MCS, 2 ORS, and 2 OIS, the Galactic Inner Panel Fasteners sticker sheet, and then we've got a little coming soon, which we'll take a look at in a bit. Now, on this online, when you go to GTP Toys, it's gtp-toys.com, or you can go to galactictradingpost.com, and it'll take you there by clicking the shop button. When it's listed online, I'm pretty sure that the breakdown on the starter pack is actually different. Like I believe it says it has 3 of the oxygen intake system and only 2 of the MCS. But what you get is actually 3 of the MCS, and even that sheet says 3 of the MCS. So I don't know if that's changed since this one was sent out, and they've added on that other one, but I'll have to email Galactic Trading Post and find out for sure. But that's what's in this set. The one that I've got is 3 of the MCS and 2 of the OIS, like it shows on that sheet. Underneath that is this sticker sheet, which is listed on that little blueprint thing there. It's the fasteners, which is basically clear stickers that you use to keep the walls together. I'm not sure I'm going to use this. There's another way to keep them together that I think I'm going to go with. Then you get a piece of, foamy, styrofoamy. And then below that is your 9 panels, and they're shipped really well. Like, they've got these 2 pieces of foam that are slotted for each one of the walls, and then below that is another piece of this. So all the walls aren't scraping against each other or rattling around inside there. Really well done on the packaging. I was very surprised. This is pretty high quality packaging that they're doing here. I'm pretty impressed right off the bat. This is some of the nicest packaged stuff that I think I've ordered online. It's a surprise to see it was so well done. Not that I'm saying it's a surprise that these guys are doing it. It's surprising when you get well packaged stuff anymore. All right, so let's get them all out of there and take a look at them. All right, got all 9 of the space walls out of the box. We'll take a look at each one of the 4 individual styles, and then we'll set them up and have some pictures and scale and all that stuff going on for you. First off is the MCS, which stands for Maintenance Control System. You get 3 of these, and this is the one where it's got kind of the same imagery on the top flipped onto the bottom. Now, all of these designs, I thought maybe, oh, well, they're really cool, and they look very similar to a certain space station in a certain space movie, but I didn't know how accurate they were to that movie until I really started looking and pausing, and it's really accurate. Like, it's very, very close to what you see in said movie. So much that I'm kind of astounded that they managed to replicate it so well and not just kind of go, okay, we'll just make it look similar. These are really, really close to what they should be. This one's got, like I said, the same design along the top, flip-flopped onto the bottom, so you could kind of go either way with this one. You could go up or down, you know, there's no really top or bottom to it. Now, all of the first three that I'm going to show you have this gridding in the back. And these are very sturdy, very solid pieces. There's no bowing to these. They're not soft. They're hard items. They're made of ABS plastic. These aren't resin or some cheap, flimsy stuff that you're looking at here. This is really stiff, tough plastic. That really high quality manufacturing on these. I was surprised to see a third party do something this nice. A lot of times you're looking at stuff that's 3D printed or made of resin when you're getting third party. This is like something that like a major retailer would put out. This is very, very nice stuff. And the detailing on each piece is so crisp and so nice and clean that I was reminded of being a kid and looking at the Terradrome when I had it as a child and putting in those different pieces that went all around the side. I don't know who all has had a Terradrome, but they were so detailed and so crisp and nice that Hasbro did on those. That is immediately what came to mind when I was looking at these pieces was, wow, look how nice and crisp and clean that is. That's just really nice work. So anyway, so you get three of this one. The next one up is I believe is the oxygen return system, ORS. And the oxygen intake system is very similar to it. See, I'm not even putting anything behind that, and that one's standing right up. So this is the oxygen return system, I believe, and this is the oxygen intake system. You can see these are hollowed out pieces here where you, just like at your house, where you have certain vents that intake oxygen, and then this is the return. So the sculpt on these two is very similar other than those spots. I don't believe there's any differences other than that, but it gives you variety when you're making up your display to mix and match pieces and have the walls look different. Now you get two of each of those, and then the last piece that you get is the LED panel. Now this one is different than those other panels in that it doesn't have that grid pattern in the back. Instead, it's got this separate white piece which is inserted, which gives that illuminated panel look from the film. You can put a light behind this and it gets even better. I don't have anything handy that I can stick in there. Well, I can maybe put my phone in there. Let's have a look at that. I don't know how well it's going to show up in this video. Here you can kind of see, but yeah, light shines through here and gives you the illusion that the whole panel is lit up. Now they were going to include an LED with this set, but they didn't get it finished in time. But they've made it so that later on when they do make an LED kit, that this is ready for it. You don't have to buy something new or something. It's just, I mean, a brand new panel. You'll just put the lighting in behind that. And this one's just as sturdy as the other ones, even though it doesn't have that grid pattern. It's not like this is gonna like split apart or anything. It's not as hefty as the other one, and it feels like maybe this panel could pop out if you're not careful with it. You know, don't go crazy on it, but it is a sturdy piece. I got a little bit of black dust in there. It is a sturdy piece. It's not quite the thickness of the other two, but you're still looking at very high quality ABS plastic there. All right, so that covers all the four sculpts. Let's put some of these guys together and we'll take a look at them displayed. All right, so here are all four styles of Space Walls together on display. Now, I did not use the galactic interpanel fasteners that are included. This is basically just like, I think, a sticker sheet. It's got 38 connectors in circular and rectangular shapes. I'm not a huge fan of stickers, really, like in decals and such. I feel like if I'd have put them on there, maybe they'd be stuck on there, or they would leave some residue or something. I don't know for sure how those work. But I know that I'm going to be moving mine around a lot. I'm going to be using them for pictures and changing them up and such. So I didn't want to have it in a position where it was always like that. So if you are like that, where you're just going to have these behind on a wall, those could probably work great for you. But for me, I'm going to be changing them around a lot. And I had heard through the Fwoosh that a good solve to that, to keeping them together instead of having just four pieces just standing there and taking the chance of bumping them or knocking them down or something, was to use these binder clips. And that is perfect. That works so well. So big props to the Fwoosh for bringing this up. Now, they were having some issues keeping the LED panel attached, but the ones I got, these small little binder clips, are perfect. Like, they fit right in these little slots here on the ones with the grid pattern on the back. They go all the way in, and then you can spread them out enough to be able to catch that little lip of the white LED style. I mean, no, this isn't LED, but the white panel that will be used to shine through when you do have an LED. So I was able to get it in a couple of these segments pretty easily. They were a little tight for this one, they wouldn't fit in, but they fit in these two just fine. And that's really the way to go for me, because it's really sturdy. They stay together. As you can see, I'm just sitting it right down and it's standing right up. No support whatsoever. When there's more than one panel to give it more area to rest on, works really well. I was having some issues where I was just standing one and it would kind of tilt over if I bumped it or something. And I think that has more to do with my picture table being slightly on the uneven side. It kind of slants forward a bit more than it does back. So I was having some issue with them coming down. But when I have them together like this, it feels really sturdy. Now the binder clips that I used were 19 millimeter. I don't know if that helps you or not, but that's the size that I chose. As far as the size of these guys, though, here's a good illustration for you. I borrowed one of the kids' rulers to bring in here, and they stand at about 9.5 inches, just about, maybe just a hair under 9.5 inches. Get that right next to there. There we go. And then the width of each one is right around 3.5 inches. I may be a little bit off on those measurements. I'm sure the site where you buy them from has those measurements. But that's just to give you an idea while watching the video what kind of height you're looking at and width for each panel. To give a better illustration though, here is a Black Series 6-inch figure standing next to the panels. To give you an idea how it looks in if you're doing pictures with these guys or have them standing there. You could even put 3 3/4 guys in front of her for pictures, because you could kind of mess with the scale and perspective by bringing your figures forward. Or, you know, who's to say how big those walls really are? You know, you could just use it for 3 3/4 if that's your thing. And then I've got a Luke Hoth here too, just to give you an idea what they're looking like standing in front of it. Man, these are great. I really, really like them. What a clever idea. It really, I think, elevates a display, and especially if you're taking pictures, it really changes everything. It made me kind of want to change the way I take pictures. I've picked up a piece of black glass to put under my figures now, and I started doing this with the that last review I did, which was for the Entertainment Earth 4-pack, using a piece of black glass underneath the figure to give it the look of that of space floor, so it has a reflection of the figure down below. You could also, I think, just use a piece of glass with maybe some black felt under it if you can't get black glass. But man, what a great idea. Huge ups to GTP Toys, man. This was brilliant. And not only is it brilliant, but it's really well executed. You're looking at an item that many of us didn't even know we were missing, but that was done so well, especially for what I believe is their first product right out the gate. This is phenomenal. Really well done work. And on their site, they have a listing of all the man hours and stuff they put into this and all the design, and it really shows through, man. You get a high-quality product here. I'm thoroughly impressed by what they've done. They'll be linked in the info section to order these. Like I said, you could go to galactictradingpost.com or gtp-toys.com if you don't feel like clicking on the info section to find it. The cost of the set, the starter set, you get those 9 panels, and it is $95.50. Now, that may sound steep when you're just thinking of, oh man, they're just some panels? That seems like a lot of money, almost $100 for some panels. But keep in mind that you are getting 9 panels. It's not like you're getting just one piece and that's it. You're getting 9 separate panels, each one really well done, high craftsmanship. So that breaks down to about around $10 per piece. And mass market action figures are $10. So if you really think about breaking it down piece by piece, it's not that much. And I'm sure later on there'll be expansion sets where you can buy maybe single panels or things like that to kind of make it so maybe you can't afford the starter set. Or maybe you split it with a friend and you can get each, one guy gets 4 panels and the other guy gets 5 panels. Who knows? Like I'm showing you right here, 4 panels is a pretty good background. I think that would look really good in a Detolf case, if that's what your Black Series stuff is displayed in. And you could split this with a buddy and you each get a set to put one behind one section in a Detolf. That's just my opinion. Now, as far as the future goes, they also have this coming soon thing along the bottom. And it looks to me like it is the corridor section, like where the blast doors are, or where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader have their fight. It looks like it's it extends back. And I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what the future holds for this, but man, that would be awesome to have like a fully, something that's, this is great for a panel, but to have something that's actually more like a diorama that extends back. If that is the case, if they are doing that, sign me up. I'm all over that. I want that bad, to have a full thing. I was talking to my buddy at work too about these, and we were saying it would be great if they, once they've kind of finished up the space walls, if they move on to like ice walls or maybe desert walls, to get other environments from said films into play, to get lots of different displays going. I know for a fact that from here on out for StarWarsBlackSeries.net, I'll be using these panels for anything that makes sense, like Imperial Forces, Luke on the Death Star, that kind of thing. Anything that makes sense for these panels, I'm going to use these as a background. And maybe even for things that don't make sense, because I love them so much. I'm not like trying to say that I did a great work or anything like that. I'm not tooting my own horn. I know there's tons of better photographers out there than me. But that last batch of pictures I took with the Imperial Forces pack, I used these, and man, I was really, really happy with how those pictures turned out. It was something that I had really not gotten too much into since taking pictures of Motu Classics figures. And I made the diorama for that. I constructed a Kessel Grayskull background. And I did one for Planet of the Apes. And it was a lot of work to do all those dioramas. And I wanted something for Star Wars, but I really didn't know where to start. And it's such a detailed world that these are perfect, man. No fuss, no muss. Just put them right back there and you're good to go. And I hope that I can get enough to do displays at my house with these things too. So I'm sorry if I'm gushing. These are really super cool. And I can't stress to you guys enough that you should really check them out. Split some with a friend if the cost is too high. But get some of these. You will not regret it. They are super, super cool. Especially if you're a guy that's taking pictures like I am, or having your stuff on display. Alright, so that about wraps it up. Like I said, hit the info section for links to where to pick them up. I'll also do maybe a small gallery, showing the individual panels and a couple pictures just for the little gallery. But most of the pictures on StarWarsBlackSeries.net from here on out will have these as a background. I like them so much. Alright, signing off on this one. Again, thank you guys. Thanks to GTP Toys for sending this over. Super cool piece, and I'll probably be giving some money your guys' way too, because I'm going to pick up a couple extra sets, I think. Alright, signing off on this one. See you guys next time.